Sacred geometry. It's a term we've all encountered. We've seen the symbols on the walls of yoga studios, over mantles, on t-shirts, and hanging from the necks of our friends. Symbols like the flower of life, Metatron's cube, and even the star tetrahedron, also known as the Star of David. But have you ever wondered what they symbolize and how they might be connected? Let's embark on a journey. Creation through the lens of sacred geometry. My hope is to show how these ancient symbols inspire the interconnectedness of all things. Hi, I'm Dr. Thompson, and I'm excited to explore this topic with you today. Okay, let's begin by thinking back to the beginning of time and start with the first thing that comes into existence. To keep things simple, let's start with something very unassuming and basic, like a spot. This dot, this tiny speck hanging out in the vast empty nothingness, all alone. From my understanding, sacred geometry begins with a single point, a primordial spark, a force that dares to peer into the vast empty nothingness. This makes sense when you examine quantum theory. You see, early in the 20th century, quantum mechanics discovered a phenomenon whereby particles can spontaneously appear and disappear in a vacuum. Yes, they come and go spontaneously, suggesting that nothing is far more complicated than it seems. But this is great news for the validity of this presentation because armed with this knowledge, I can seriously suggest that creation might have begun, as many ancient texts propose, from initial primordial spark. In 1944, Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, shocked his colleagues by suggesting that all matter comes from a force with a conscious mind behind it. He believed that this mind is the matrix of all matter, a very radical idea for his time. Okay, let's entertain the notion of a single primordial point in space, a spark of awareness, a particle, or perhaps just a form of energy. Now, this isn't just any ordinary primordial spark. This point is a quantum mechanics holy grail. It doesn't occupy space or dimension, and yet, as you will soon discover, it appears to have inherent awareness. Are you wondering why it doesn't occupy space or dimension? Well, this particle transcends the physical dimensions as we understand them in classical physics. Remember, it can come and go spontaneously. We don't understand that. Perhaps it's just a rebel, refusing to conform to the rules of our three-dimensional world. Or could it be that it hasn't figured out how to navigate physical form at this point and is being cautious? It's just popping in, hanging out, and observing? After all, this is the beginning of everything. And this is just the baby primordial spark. Now let us delve deeper into this point, this singularity of existence, this baby primordial spark, this single point of consciousness with 360-degree omnidirectional awareness. Picture it, awareness, consciousness, unlimited and unbound by any physical constraints. For the sake of this discussion, let this single circle represent unity, wholeness, and the cosmic all. Now, I didn't make this up. This concept aligns with various mystical and spiritual traditions, where the origin of the universe is seen as fundamentally non-material. Even the ancient Egyptians supported this idea. They viewed this non-physical, non-dimensional entity as the spark that ignited creation. And they're not alone. Hindus speak of Brahman, the ultimate reality. Buddhists explore Sunyata, the emptiness from which all arises. Taoism reveres the Tao, the indefinable source of existence. Kabbalah discusses Ein Sof, the infinite and boundless divine. And even ancient Greek philosophers like Plato talked about the realm of perfect non-physical form. And so we find ourselves marveling at this singular point, this dot with the audacity to initiate creation, setting everything into motion with a spark of awareness. From the book of Genesis of the King James Bible comes a fascinating sequence. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. What's most intriguing about this verse is that they suggest that movement precedes light. The Spirit of God moved upon the waters before the command, "Let there be light." How do we interpret this sequence in geometry, and what could it tell us about the nature of existence itself? The sequence hints at a fundamental principle that creation itself requires a context, a framework within which it can unfold. From physics or mathematical perspective, movement in a void is impossible without something to move in relations to. So what does this mean for our point of consciousness with 360 degrees awareness? Well, perhaps consciousness recognized its potential and thought, "I need to express myself." This expression wasn't about moving itself around. After all, it could pop in and out at will. Instead, it duplicated itself, whereby allowing its counterpart to explore the boundaries of awareness. This duplication created a second circle, which historically forms the Vesica Piscis. It symbolizes the birth of duality, balance, and the intersection of the material and spiritual realms. You might be wondering why this point of awareness bothered to duplicate itself. Consider that within the realm of pure potentiality, the act of creation could stem from the innate desire to know and experience itself. By duplicating, the point of awareness initiated a dynamic interplay, a dance of existence, giving rise to space, relationship, and eventually form. This mirrors the philosophical notion that the universe seeks to understand and manifest its infinite potential. This can also be viewed as a metaphorical form of mitosis, consciousness reproducing itself to expand and create new awareness. Just as mitosis involves cell dividing to create two identical cells, this point of consciousness expands, symbolizing the birth of duality from unity and the continuous expansion of consciousness. And there you have it, folks. The geometric, metaphysical explanation for why you see is separate from everything. It's not your parents' fault. It was the Vesica Piscis introduction of duality that has most questioning their oneness since the dawn of creation. The Vesica Piscis, often seen as a symbol of creation and interconnectedness, provides a powerful metaphor for the growth and division of awareness. This concept also aligns with the fractal nature of life, where similar patterns repeat at different scales, from the microcosm of cellular division to the macrocosm of the cosmic structures. This expansion mirrors many cosmological, philosophical, and spiritual narratives where creation involves movement from a central point. Hindu cosmology, Brahman, the ultimate reality, expands to Atman, the individual soul, symbolizing creation and a deeper understanding of unity. Kabbalistic mysticism, Zim-Zum, God contracts his infinite light to create a space for the finite world, symbolizing expansion from a divine point. The Big Bang Theory in cosmology, the universe expands from a singularity, aligning with the idea of expansion from a central point. Platonic and Neoplatonic philosophy, existence unfolds from the One, symbolizing the expansion of consciousness. Christian theology, ex nihilo creation, God creates the universe from nothing, viewed as divine thought manifesting as physical reality. Most interesting about this concept is that physics tells us that you can't get something from nothing. It is closely related to the principle of conservation of mass energy, which states that mass energy cannot be created or destroyed, but can only change forms. We exist within a self-contained universe, a vast sea of electromagnetic energy that is constantly recycled. This scientific understanding challenges the notion of true something from nothing, emphasizing that everything must have an initial condition or origin. Perhaps this is what Max Planck suggested in 1944 when he said that all matter originates and exists only by a virtue of a force, and that we must assume that behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. The almond shape formed by the vesica piscis is seen as a gateway or a birth canal, symbolizing creation and the emergence of new forms and ideas. It represents the intersection of the divine and the material. This shape can also be conceptualized as a metaphorical eye through which we perceive enlightenment, an idea found in various cultures and spiritual traditions. The second movement creates the Trinity, also referred to as the tripod of life. In Christian theology, the Holy Trinity refers to the unity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit as three persons in one Godhead. In Hinduism, the Trimurti comprises Brahman, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer, representing different aspects of the divine and cosmic functions of creation, preservation, and destruction. Buddhism has the Trikaya, the three bodies of the Buddha, illustrating the different dimensions of Buddha's existence and enlightenment. So our point continues to divide, and we will now jump ahead to the sixth move. The seed of life. It's a fundamental component in sacred geometry. It serves as a blueprint from everything from daisies to galaxies. This pattern symbolizes the genesis of creation in various ancient cultures, and it answers the age-old question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, according to sacred geometry, it was the seed of life that came before the egg. In fact, from the seed of life comes the egg of life. The egg of life symbolizes the building blocks of form, akin to how atoms serve as building blocks of matter and in scientific terms. The egg of life symbolizes creation, mirroring the structures of cells and the genesis of life itself. Here is an example. On the left, we see the geometric progression we have been discussing, while on the right, we have images of embryonic cell division. The similarities between these sequences illustrates the concept that sacred geometry is woven into the fabric of life. From the seed of life comes the egg of life. From the egg of life comes the flower of life. Throughout history, the flower of life has been found in various cultures and religions, symbolizing the fundamental forms of space and time. From ancient Egyptian temples to Leonardo da Vinci's studies, this pattern has been revered as a powerful symbol of creation and unity, highlighting how all life emerges and evolves through stages of growth and complexities. This is a Texas bluebonnet plant, and it offers an example of how this pattern shows up naturally in nature. DNA. Here we see different forms of DNA. Notice how these intricate designs echo the principles of sacred geometry. DNA is referred to as the blueprints of life because it contains the genetic instructions for the development and functioning of living organisms. These geometric patterns are nature's way of encoding vast amounts of information in a compact and efficient form. Here we have examples of sacred geometry found in nature. These plants demonstrate how sacred geometry serves as a blueprint for optimizing growth and efficiencies. From the seed of life comes the egg of life, and from the egg of life comes the flower of life, and from the flower of life comes the fruit of life. Consisting of 13 circles, it represents the underlying structure of the universe and forms the basis of Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube is derived by superimposing straight lines onto the fruit of life. These lines connect the center of 13 circles, forming a complex geometric figure. Metatron's cube represents the weaving together of the feminine aspects of nature with the masculine principles of structure, creating a holistic and balanced symbol that embodies the fundamental patterns of reality. Metatron's cube is named after Archangel Metatron, who, according to mystical Jewish tradition, watches over the flow of energy and provides a connection to the divine. Embedded within Metatron's cube, we find the five Platonic solids, named after ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who studied them around 360 BCE. These five solids are considered the building blocks of matter. Keep in mind that the images you are about to see are two-dimensional representations of three-dimensional structures. The tetrahedron is the simplest and most fundamental of the Platonic solids. The hexahedron, commonly known as a cube, is the second of the five Platonic solids. It consists of 6 square faces. The octahedron consists of 8 equilateral triangle faces. The dodecahedron consists of 12 pentagonal faces. The icosahedron, consisting of 12 equilateral triangle faces. The star tetrahedron, while not one of the five Platonic solids, holds significant importance in sacred geometry. It consists of 2 interlocking tetrahedra, forming a 3-dimensional Star of David. This shape represents the merging of the physical and spiritual realms, symbolizing balance, harmony, and the integration of opposites. The star tetrahedron is associated with the Merkaba, a concept rooted in Jewish mysticism and Kabbalistic teachings. The Merkaba is referred to as the chariot of God, and it has been suggested that this protective energy field surrounds each of us, indicating that each soul is contained and protected by a chariot of energy designed to carry divine essence. In addition, this energy field is thought to facilitate spiritual ascension, underscoring the star tetrahedron's profound metaphysical significance. In reflecting on the deep connections between geometry, spirituality, and the essence of existence, I realized that these ideas are not just theoretical. They have the power to transform our perception of the world. This realization sparked a desire within me to create something that would allow others to experience these geometric principles in a visceral, immersive way. This journey led me to envision an art installation that allowed people to experience the beauty and significance of these geometric shapes firsthand. So before we conclude, I'd like to introduce you to my project that's particularly close to my heart, Metatron's Jewels. It brings the concepts we've discussed to life through an immersive geometric art installation. You can learn more about the project by scanning the QR codes and visiting the website. You'll also find more information about the project on the tables in the hall outside. Here we have a list of my sources and inspirations. And so there you have it, creation through the lens of sacred geometry. Thank you for your attention and for joining me on this journey. May you find inspiration and connection in the patterns that shape our universe.